Hey guys, it's Gracen and I'm back this week with another video. So last week was introduction week. We decided this week would be Digi week because that's where we all met. So yeah, I'm gonna start with like a few months before and then go into Digi. This is like, it's really emotional to talk about, to be honest. So it was back sometime in March. I was actually at church and I was leaving and Sammy called me. And she was like, hey, do you want to go to Digi? And I was like, I was having a heart attack at that point because like since 7th grade, I've been wanting to go to Digi. And I was like, yes, of course. And so like I put the phone down real quick and I was like, Mom, Sammy's asking me to go to Digi. And she was like, we'll have to talk about this later. So I got back on the phone with Sammy and I was like, I'd love to go, but I have to talk to my mom and all this stuff. My mom finally says I can go, which I started crying because I was so excited because Simon was going, and Simon is my favorite out of everybody that went, even though I love them all equally. Simon just a little bit more. So Sammy actually bought both my tickets, and I'm really grateful for that because if I didn't have her, I wouldn't have gone to Digi. So I was really happy for that, like all the stuff she did for me. So she got me VIP and general admission, so I'm really excited for that. I actually have my VIP lanyard on my pocketbook. Then Emily says she's going, and she's getting VIP, and so I'm ecstatic because me, Emily, and Sammy reunited to go to Digi. Like, we haven't seen each other since 5th grade, and we're all freshmen now, so we hadn't seen each other for 4 years. Friday comes, the 21st, and I'm freaking out because I'm finally getting to see my best friends for the very first time in 4 years. So I get out of school around like 3:40 and I go and pack my stuff to spend the night at Sammy's because her mom was really nice enough to take us. So I pack my stuff and my dad drives me to Chick-fil-A where I'm meeting them. They were like in Chick-fil-A waiting on me and they were texting me. They were like, when are you gonna get here? And I was like, I'm coming, like trust me, I'm gonna be there. It was like 4:45 when I showed up to Chick-fil-A. I pull up and I open the door and I step down and I get attacked. And Emily comes running around the corner and she freaking attacks me. And like, if I wasn't holding on to the door, I probably would have been on the ground. But I honestly wanted to start crying right then and there because I hadn't seen them in so long and we were really close. Me and Emily have been friends for 10 years, going on 11 in August. It was amazing to finally see her again. So we get to Sammy's house and we're finishing our posters. I actually still have my poster that I made for Simon. He didn't end up taking the poster, but yeah, that's some of it. Probably can't read it all. But yeah, that's my poster. If you have Simon on Snapchat and you saw this poster, that was me. We finished making our posters. I made that one like 2 weeks before because I knew I was making a poster for Simon, but I also made a Digigoals poster. And the 22nd was my year supporting Lauren. So I made a poster for her. We're all up there making our posters, we're listening to music. We're having like just the most amazing time. So we all take our showers and it's about 1 o'clock that morning. Like that Saturday morning. And we're like, we gotta get some sleep or else we're not gonna get up. We set our alarms for 6 o'clock and they went off and all of us woke up, but we didn't really get up till like 6:15. And we started getting ready. I was in the bathroom doing my makeup because I know it takes me forever to get ready. And then I did Emily's hair and Sammy was getting ready and we all got dressed and it was like 8:50 when we left the house that morning. We stopped by Chick-fil-A and we got breakfast and it was like 9:40 when we left Chick-fil-A. And luckily we were close to Charlotte, so it didn't take us long to get there. At about 10 o'clock we got to the venue and there was only 4 other girls outside the venue at that point. And me, Emily, and Sammy. So they were standing by the VIP doors, which we didn't know was the doors for VIP at that moment. So we were standing by I guess it was the general admission doors. So then people started packing in and that was like around 10:15. Around 10:30, 2 black vans show up. One with a little like U-Haul thing on the back of it, like carrying equipment, and just another black van. So we're sitting on the ground and we're like, is that Simon? So all of us stand up and like they start putting out barriers so like we know that they're there. The van pulls in and it backs up and it stops. And we're like sitting there. I've been supporting Simon for 2 years and 5 months. So We were like freaking out, and we were like right in front of the barrier, so we were right there. Nathan gets out of the car and we're all screaming, and then Blake gets out and then Simon gets out. I was freaking out because I was actually getting to meet Simon Britton after waiting 2 years and 5 months to actually like see him in person. They walk up to us and they're like, you guys have to be really quiet, like we're gonna take a video, and when we turn around you gotta scream as loud as you can. But they took the video and they started screaming, and like Blake went in and then Nathan and then Simon went in. So like I reached out my hand for Simon and he like reached his hand out like he was gonna grab my hand, but then he like switched to a peace sign, and I was just like sitting there like, did Simon Britton just diss me? I was like laughing / crying the whole time because like this was my first time seeing Simon Britton not on a screen. Like this is my first time seeing the people who helped me through so much crap in my life not on a screen. We're all freaking out, and that was actually when we first started talking to Maddie and Morgan. We started talking to them, we became instant friends. We were maybe like around like the 20th people in line. Like we were kind of actually close for it to be a small venue. Like the line was so long, and we were really like, we were close to the door. We're waiting in line. It's about 11 and we decided to head towards the meet and greet door. We're like standing out there, it's like burning hot. My butt decided to wear jeans. I wore this shirt, which it kind of still smells like Simon, like on the arm. So that kind of made me like really happy. Still does. What am I talking about? Time passes, we just talk to each other. It's 1 o'clock and doors haven't opened yet, so we were like freaking out. So 1:30 the doors open and people start letting us in. So we pull out our general admission tickets and our VIP tickets and all of our bags and everything, and I'm like juggling stuff at this point because I'm holding like 3 posters and a wallet and my phone and tickets, and it was a mess. So to get in, there was like a $3 fee like for people under 21. So I handed the lady the money because I was also paying for my friend, like one of the girls we met there. It comes my turn meeting Simon, and while I'm waiting in the line, I'm like bawling, like not as hard as I was outside because like I think I cried way too hard outside that I couldn't cry anymore, but there was tears going down my face. Like I was crying pretty hard. I walk up to Simon and I just like, the first words that ever came out of my mouth was, I love you so much. And I grabbed onto him and he just like grabbed onto me and he was like, I love you too. And he just kept like rocking back and forth for like a good like at least 15 seconds. I had brought him this big bag of Airheads and a letter because I love him and I wanted to bring him something. Then I had my posters in this hand and I turned them around and I was like, I've been supporting you for 2 years and 5 months and I'm finally meeting you. And he was like in shock at that. Then he goes and he pulled out his phone and I was like, what is he doing? I was like, I was really confused. He was like, do you want me to put you on my story? So I was like having a heart attack. So I was like, yeah, of course. So I put down my other posters and I held up that one and he took the picture. And I was like, oh, I'm shaking right now. And he was like, oh, and he kept saying, I love you. And like, it honestly meant a lot to me, even though I know he says it to like everybody else he meets. But like, it honestly meant a lot to me because I was finally meeting him. So we go to take the picture and like, we were kind of close to the end of the curtain. So he like pulled me over a little bit. Then he was like about to like do one of those like weird little faces that he does. And I was like, I was hugging him, so I was like this, and I was like, wait, can you like kiss me on the cheek? And he was like, yeah, and I was like, okay. So he had his arm on my shoulder, and so like he leaned in and he kissed my cheek, but he was holding my shoulder, and then he like pulled me into him, and I was like, so anyway, when I met Nathan, he complimented my eyes, and on my phone case is Ashton Irwin from 5 Seconds of Summer. So after we finished taking our picture, he was like, who's on your phone case? So I said Ashton from 5 Sauce, and he hugged me, and he was like, what a king. And so I started dying because Ashton's my favorite from 5 Sauce. Then I met Lauren, and she was really, really sweet. I showed her my poster, and she was kind of like in shock about it too. She was like, that's so ironic, and she was really nice. I walked over to Harvey. He was really, really sweet. He complimented my eyes as well. And like the very first thing I said to anyone was like, I love you so much. So then I went and talked to Blake, and he was really sweet. He started rubbing my back, so that was nice. And then I met Tyler, and he looked really tired, but he was still super, super sweet. So we get our lanyards and stuff and our posters, and we make it to the front of the stage, like, surprisingly. They come out and, like, I'm having a heart attack. They play their games, and, like, during Kiss or Diss, Nathan, Simon, and Tyler were playing, and so some girl, I don't even know who, she screamed out, "I love you, Daddy, Tyler," and Simon almost fell out of his chair, which was the funniest thing ever. So then Found Vegas comes out, and, like, everybody was, like, screaming for Johnny and, like, Ethan and all of them, and I was over here like, what about Mike? Honestly, to me, he looks exactly like Mikey Murphy. I held up the heart, and he was over there playing the bass, and he, like, quickly held up a heart for a second, and I was like, oh my lord, okay. So also during Kiss or Diss, I had on Simon's shirt, so I was screaming like, "Simon, I love you," and all. Like, he actually heard me, and he was like, "I love you too," and I, like, held up my shirt, and I was, like, screaming his name, and he saw it, and he was like, yeah. I was like, oh my god. I was, like, having a heart attack during that point. Harvey comes out singing, and, like, he comes over to where we are, and so he sings, I think it was after Controlla. Me and my friends were trying to get his attention, so they were all, like, pointing at me and everything, and they were screaming. We were all screaming for Harvey. At first, he thought we were all saying, like, "I love you," so, like, in the microphone, like, looking at us, he was like, "I love you too," and we were like, that's not what we were saying, but okay, I'll take that. So then they kept screaming, and they were like, "She can sing, she can sing," and, like, the whole time I was, like, screaming, like, for Harvey to do a duet with me, like, bring me up on stage, do a duet with me, bro. They were like, "She can sing, she can sing," and, like, he noticed it, and he was like, "She can sing," like, but mouthing it, and they were like, "Yeah, she can sing," like, and he was, like, nodding his head, and then he winked, and I was like, okay, Harvey. So he started singing All of Me, which was, like, really freaking amazing. They all come out at the end of the show, and again, I hold up my merch again, and Simon sees it, and he's, like, smiling and so happy, and I was like, oh. It was really sad to leave. Like, I was crying by the end of the show after everything happened. We went home, and it was really, really sad. I forgot to give Lauren my letter for her in the meet and greet, and thank God for Maddie. She gave Lauren my letter for me at the hangout, and I really wish we could have gotten hangout, because I really had so much more to say to them that I just, like, I was so in shock that I was meeting them. Forgot to say during the meet and greet, but I'm so glad I got to meet them, and it was such a fun experience. And I honestly went to Digi thinking, like, I was only gonna have, like, my 3 friends, Emily, Sammy, and Krista, who we met up with. But I met Megan, and I met Maddie, and I met another Maddie, and Morgan, and everybody was super, super sweet. And yeah, I just had a really fun time. But make sure to like and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to be leaving some pictures and videos. Peace out.